Now. Okay, peace. How you doing, man? And please introduce yourself to those who know you and do not know you, or just want to hear your name, sir.
Okay, well, my name is Archie Burnett. I have this affectionate term that I call myself the dancing dinosaur. Um,
Okay.
so,
But you're still moving good though. So it's not like you're like, I just seen your last video. I pay attention. I'm not really into I've seen a lot of voguing and I seen it in the shelter and I seen a lot of
mhm.
I guess it would be whacking in the shelter and a couple other different styles there. But I always liked it. I thought it was nice. I just never really got so much into it, but I'm thinking about more and more now because it's real elegant. And then when I see you do it, it's real like, you know, it's nice. It's nice. It's
Well,
super dope.
thank you, thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
super dope.
But basically, I would say is that what I do is I'm a dancer first, and I've always been a dancer. Uh, so my mother tells me I've been dancing since I was 3 years old. So
Mhm.
I'd say that's a long time. I'm like let's see, that would be 61 and 8 months now. So I'll be 62 January 3rd. So
Okay.
there you go.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm not that. I used to be young. I'm not so young no more, man. I'm about to hit 50 next year. So younger than
Well,
you, but
congratulations.
yeah, about to one day reach that. Anyway, that's how it goes. So out there, you guys know how old I am now. So still
All
for
right.
this guy, I'm still a young guy, but a little bit mature for the younger
All
guys.
right. All right.
Yeah, yeah. So, let me get the questions ready. Couple,
Yes.
we had some questions from the old school around your generation time from the
Okay.
law. I got questions from the middle, my generation, the I was their generation. That's what I just call it. And I got questions from the battle generations, which they don't want to be. Some of them don't want to be called battle generation either.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but and I can understand that too. So, uh, we'll go with the let's go with the new school first. Let's go with the new
Okay.
guys first. Get those guys out the way. What is the influence of Latin and Caribbean culture? Well, before I set that question, let's at least set that question up because the conversation. I know you got a very deep, rich history in dance and stuff like that, but I think the
Okay.
conversation that we're going to go today um, would touch on the loft and would, of course, touch on what you actually do too as well. And I think that's the best
Okay.
direction. But the question I presented to the people to, so we're not throwing a total curveball at you, was about the loft, and a lot of it was
Okay.
your experience
Mhm.
too with the questions are nice. You'll like them. So the questions are dope. So I'm gonna start
Okay.
off with
Okay.
the first
Okay.
one, just to set it up out there so everybody know. I'm throwing Archie. I'm throwing him a curveball, but at least he knows about it. It's coming. But it's in
Was
the
fun,
form of
I guess.
questions. What is the influence of Latin and Caribbean culture when we talk about lofting?
Oh, okay. Um, all right. I'll have to first go with a few definitions. Obviously, first. Um, I kind of understand why generations are calling it lofting, but I hope everybody knows that's not a dance. I hope they do. It's a form of expression that all of us were allowed to do in this particular, in this wonderful space that just allowed a certain kind of freedom with a certain kind of, let's put it this way, if you have ingredients such as atmosphere, the permission to be something other than what your day-to-day existence is, plus, and unfortunately I have to say this because it's true, plus drugs. Some of us did it, some of us did not. That whole 60s vibe, it creates a certain atmosphere which teaches you a particular type of approach to what you already, I would say, what your DNA already is.
Hmm.
That's the best way for me to articulate that. So um, that's just defining what that word is. But say the question again so I can get the rest of it.
What is the influence of Latin and Caribbean culture when you
Ah,
talk about lofting?
okay. Well, here's the thing. Um, when you in that space, there were people of many different races, and so on and so forth. Um, and people brought whoever they were to the club. Well, actually, it's not a club; it was the man's home. So I would honestly say that's a difficult question because it depends on who was there. You know, like if there were people that were uh, ballet technicians that were there. They brought whoever they were. I mean, I was raised here in America, but I was first generation West Indian American. So my DNA comes from a little of that, but it also comes from the DNA that I was influenced with because I was forbidden to dance. I learned off of television.
Yeah,
We didn't have YouTube, you know? So I would say that particular question is a bit
yeah,
irrelevant if somebody wants to state that that's like a blanket code on a particular movement, because obviously we can always say that every movement on earth comes back from Africa. You know,
yeah,
everybody could say that, but
yeah,
but if you're speaking a strictly European aesthetic, that would be devoid from any African influence. So wherever you are, or whatever your background is at the time that you happen to enter this space, because we are products of our environment. I mean,
true.
that's just the
Yeah,
truth.
yeah.
To
Oh,
do with um, like a massive identification, I think, but what has a lot to do with who you and your personal influences when you enter.
yeah.
Was
Okay.
that too confusing?
No, I think you cut out. I think it cut out the last part, which you just said.
Did what I say cut out? Do I have to say
Yeah,
it
yeah.
again?
Yeah, yeah. You got to say it again to get it across.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are products of our environment.
Hmm.
So that particular or African American culture has nothing to do with the overall, what people, I guess, are trying to identify as a dance form, because it's a come as you are. It's wherever you were at the time. There were people who did ballet. There were people who did jazz. There were people who were straight up hood. There were people who were lawyers. There were people. It was a melting pot. So as to state that that was a general only identification for what these people were doing, no, no. I
Okay.
could say that there were people in there who were expressing that damn straight, but that's not an identification of let's say a form.
Hmm. Okay. Next, I'm gonna move on to the next one. Who are your elders you looked up to? Could
Oh,
you?
baby. Junebug, Mike Dungy, um, oh my goodness, Flame, the City Steppers, um, those were my other influences, such as Soul Train,
Yeah.
American Bandstand. I can go away.
Yeah, I think just go take your time because I think we got in and out right now with the clouds. I had a problem with my last interview too, so it's like a little. It's not the internet, but
Oh,
we
well,
got
I'll
we.
say it again.
Yeah, please.
I'll say it again. Mike Dungy, um, Rick Richardson, Woody Pine Dew, Flame, um, Henry, Legs. These guys were guys that were in the actual club. As far as the female influences, um, that weren't necessarily older than me, that we were around the same age, was Martha Batista, was uh, Melanie Wright. Um, Actually, I wrote these girls down. Hold on. You know, because I had a feeling somebody would ask me that. You know, let's see, where are they?
Well, I'm glad I asked,
Okay.
or let me say, I'm glad our
Oh
new
yes,
guy
yes,
asked. Yeah.
yes. Melanie Wright, Zuma Rodriguez, Christina LaBoy, Zuleka, Josie, Jacqueline Vargas, Martha Batista, Dalia Cazales, Angel Rodriguez, Desiree, Carol Smith, Irena, China, Yvonne. These ladies, they weren't older than me though. But when you share time on a dance floor,
Yeah.
it's a magical thing that happens. Like I told somebody the other day, I said, can you imagine if there's something that's already running and these people have been dancing since 1977, right? And they know each other, and you just come into a space. So you're coming as you are from nowhere, and you just come into the space. First, what's going to affect you is the music. Second, what's going to affect you, what you're visually going to see, is this kind of vibe that connects everybody, but you can't put your finger on it. And that's something that you begin to understand with swimming in that sea for a little while.
Yeah.
So when you do that, you go, oh my God, I get it. You become transformed. And what becomes the transformation for you
Hmm.
is your approach. That's the thing that I tell people. One thing about the Loft, this man's home, is his whole philosophy and what he did, it changed your approach to what you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a beautiful thing for me. But anyway, that was the uh that was the
That's
thing.
dope. Okay, so next question. I'm gonna go old school, your generation, another
Okay.
loft dancer. Um,
Okay.
says, what's up with down? What else? Ask him
Go
about
ahead. Go ahead.
downstairs and the different. Ask him about downstairs and the difference between
Uh-oh.
upstairs and downstairs. I won't get into the rest of the message. I'll
Yeah,
keep it
baby.
PG. But
Yeah,
upstairs and
baby.
downstairs,
Yeah,
please
baby.
explain the difference between that. And that's from the old school section.
Oh, let me tell you. Downstairs is where the dancers were, baby. Downstairs, the thing about downstairs the lights were bright. They're like just regular lights, like the lights are on. And downstairs, it was crazy because, well, the food was downstairs. They had the punch there. They didn't serve any alcohol, so you know,
Hmm.
it was a thing where anybody could come down there, drink the punch or drink the water. I recommend don't drink the punch because they usually spike that shit, but that's a whole nother
Yeah.
story. Um, but downstairs was where the action was. Now, in detail, when you come downstairs, if you look to the left, there were the bathrooms, the men and ladies' bathroom.
Hmm.
And usually the fellas were in there doing 172s, which was, acid, you know. Hey, it was the drug back then. For some of them, we're doing 172. Some were doing window panes. Some were doing Snoopies. It was It was
I
that
wouldn't
thing.
know. I'm from the weed generation. We came in smoking
Oh,
weed and
okay.
blunts, so
But I'm just
I
putting
don't
it
know
out
anything
there
about
because
that.
I'm just putting it out there. Not
But
that I
some
did it.
people who've been to the limelight, or people who have been to the limelight in my generation, they're the ones I worry about. I'd be like, "What? You went to where? To the limelight? I didn't even go to the limelight. I walked by the limelight, not in the limelight. Why'd you walk in there? What you have to do there?
Oh
Is
God,
something you needed in
you are
there?"
killing me right now. You're killing me right now.
So
You're killing me right now. So,
I was always
but the
looking at
energy
people
was
like, "Yo," and then I see somebody I know. I'm like, "Yo, why is he in line there?" You don't know. It's like, but whatever. You gotta love the limelight. I'm not hating on the limelight. Excuse me. Sorry.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I gotta
mm-hmm.
back up because some people came from the limelight.
Well,
So
look, I used to go there too.
I was scared, man. I ain't gonna lie, Archie.
You kids kind
I
of
was
club,
scared, Archie.
yeah.
I was like, nah, no, thank you. I looked. I said, I'm good.
It's different. I'll say that it was different.
And I've been to the bar. The bar got me. I accidentally went to the bar. It was an accident, but I got no beef with nobody. But I accidentally went to the bar. I wasn't very happy that I went to the bar, but it happens, man. It happens to everybody. You're looking for nice, good clubs to go to.
So
So, chasing that music, boy.
a whole list, boy, a whole list. So so
So
so
anyway,
so so oh, too funny. Yeah. So now downstairs, I'll tell you the freakiest thing that used to happen. So there's the
yeah.
bathroom
Tell
area.
us the freakiest
Now
thing.
before the
No, get into it. Tell us, please. Tell us.
oh well okay. Well, I'll tell you a couple of freaky things. Back in those days, we really didn't wear much clothes, because it was the 80s.
Yeah.
So what we used to do is, we used to wear the fashion for some of us back then was just the bike shorts,
Uh-huh.
bike shorts, no shirt going on. There were a couple of nights where some ladies, they just took their top off and they're dancing with
Yes. Oh yeah,
no
yeah.
top on and, you
Okay.
know, and but you can tell she had a little bit too much of whatever the thing she was
Yeah, yeah. Whatever
doing,
was in the
you know.
punch. Don't
And
drink
here's,
the punch.
yep, and mind you, and I'm gonna tell you something which was really amazing, so that people will know, is that the men were very respectful. They were like, yo, she's getting it in, so
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Let
how
her
she want
have
to
fun.
express herself.
Yeah.
We all good with that. On the side, we'd be cracking jokes, because the loft was a place where we could go ahead and say crazy shit like, we used to sing Mighty Mouse songs. Here I come to save the day,
Oh man,
and we would scream across the
artistic
floor.
heaven.
Oh,
Artist
seriously,
heaven.
and we would scream across the floor. We would say shit like, "You're not half the man your mother was," or "Twice the woman your father is." We would scream shit like that, and people
Oh
would be just
wow.
cracking up. There was a song, I forgot the artist, but it goes, "Hey, you, don't touch that, touch this," and and we would just say these lines throughout
Yo.
the night. And what it did is added to the frenzy of the party, and we would be cracking up. Yo, did you hear what he said? You hear what he said? You hear what he
So
said?
I got a good one. I got a trivia question for you. And
Tell me, tell
this
me,
is
tell
to
me.
let you show this will test you on my knowledge and what I know and what you know.
Okay, tell me, tell me, tell me,
So
tell me,
this
tell
is
me.
a good one. So is it all over my face? Hell yeah.
Oh
Did you guys make that?
no,
Who made that
no,
up?
we didn't.
Who made that
We
saying
didn't.
up? Is it all
We didn't
over?
do.
You know the song. You know how it goes. So who did
Okay,
that?
the song that song is it all over my face?
The male
I
version and the
think that
female
was,
version. You got the male and the
yeah,
female
that
version.
was I want to go bang. Sorry, I'm doing El Dinosaur. I want to go bang in my head, but is it all over my face? That
Because that's not to the song. We go hell yeah, but that's not in
no,
the
no,
song.
that was later.
When
That
did
was
that
not
come
in the
in? When did
song.
that part right there come in?
That's not our generation part. No.
Okay, so we brought that in there. We
Mm-hmm.
brought that part in.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
is it all over my face? And there's no part in the record that says that, but everybody says it in
No,
unison. Hell
no.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
because
know.
for us it was, is it all over my face? You got me love dancing. Is
Yeah,
it
you got me
all over
love.
my face?
Okay, then we switched it up somehow
You
in
got me,
between.
got me love dancing. That's
Yeah.
ours. But what happened was after that, like when that track
Hmm.
became more of a party, commercial
Hmm.
situation, like in Nels, a lot of the black parties,
Yeah, I've been to Nails.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of the black parties, you know, that crowd put the hell yeah in it, you
Okay.
know,
Okay.
but the garage never, the loft never.
They
It
never
was
said the
that
hell yeah. So okay, so it was the
never.
fringe is outside to put the hell yeah into it.
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely,
cool, 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 cool.
absolutely.
All right, good history. And for those out there who are really like historians on this and know what I'm
Yep.
talking about, they'll, you know,
Oh, trust me, I
yeah,
know. Because let me tell you, my party roster is crazy. I did the punk rock clubs. I did the rock clubs. I did well. They didn't have house clubs back
yeah,
then. Everywhere from Manhattan
hmm,
to the gay clubs to the clubs that are on Fordham Road.
yeah,
You love music because that's what we did. We love
yeah,
dance. You go wherever it is. You just so
yeah.
I
Okay,
can rattle down a whole sense for you.
okay. So
Hmm.
the next questions, which is coming, the most questions is from my generation, which is I was their
Okay.
generation. We got the most questions, I think. So we just tackle them one at a time. Uh, What was the change from club music
Oh,
to
there we
house
go.
music clubs? And did the dance change? And if so, what dance or dances changed?
Okay, you're gonna have to back that up because you did
Yeah. Okay.
with the
Yeah. What was the change from club music to house
yes.
music clubs? And what the dance change? If so, what dances or dances change? Hold on, let me read that again. What was the change
Okay,
from the club music to house music clubs?
I
Dot dot
see.
dot.
Okay,
And
okay,
did the dance change? And if so, what dance or dances changed?
okay. Well, let's put it this way. Um, Obviously, this space. I keep saying club, but it's not a club. It was a man's home. So, being respectful to David, his home was way before house music. It was just a way of playing good music, good dance music. Because back and then,
Yeah.
the only term was it was clubbing because that's what we did. We went the music that you would specifically hear in clubs. When house music came, which typically it's documented as to say it's from Chicago, but when you talk about the influencers like Frankie Knuckles is
Yeah,
from
yeah.
New York.
Frankie Knuckles from New York.
So
Well aware. Hmm. Yeah,
so obviously you have to people have to understand that people cross pollinate.
yeah,
You have to understand that. So, because obviously, DJ True said something a long time ago. New York really gets no love when it comes to, their contribution to the club music situation. The house music situation. But God bless his soul. If Frankie was still here, he would. But I think he's even clarified that in a lot of his interviews.
yeah.
Where he's from, where he moved.
Yeah,
If
absolutely,
you're bringing,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah, you bring a
yeah, we
certain
know it's
flavor.
just rewrapped. I just look at it like this, Archie. How my view on it is, it's
Yeah,
like taking a Twinkie and you dip it in chocolate. Now you're still a Twinkie, you just dipped it in chocolate. You know what I
there you
mean?
go.
But you can rename it. That's the American way. So
Yeah,
you know
and
what
it's
I mean?
always about
So, and we got to, Chicago, I can understand the mentality out there. They wanted to claim something that was from New York and say
I
that
get
they
it.
have it and they
I
going
get
to
it.
go ahead and change it. And the machines were changing, the technology was
Hmm.
changing and they modeled themselves right after hip hop to do it anyway,
Yeah,
sampling, the way the usage of the turntables and stuff like that.
yeah,
So it was
yeah.
very
So
similar to hip hop. That's why it's a cousin of hip hop.
you have to always think that nothing happens just by itself, just out
Yeah.
of the blue like that. Nothing
Yeah.
happens like that. So pertaining to dance, dance is always directly related to the time you're living in
Hmm.
and political time you're living in, excuse me, the emotional time you're living in,
Hmm.
and your social time that you're living in. So, You know, when club music all of a sudden now gets this brand or separation that, okay, now this is house music,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden the younger generation sees, okay, let me back this up. The younger generation sees that's two generations under me. I'll say a generation is about 10 years. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
So two generations under me would see people dancing to this music. Chicago is identifying it as the jack.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if a person's just jumping up and down, let's say, just hitting a
Yeah.
rhythm. Obviously, they'll say the jack is more than that, but I'm just simplifying
Jack
this.
is more than that.
For, yeah, yeah.
Jack is
So
like Jack is very
because
special to Chicago.
because you have to understand, for our generation, we used to call you guys grasshoppers
Yeah, yeah,
because of that very same fact, hopping all over the place,
yeah, yeah,
But that's you have to understand that's energy of youth. Energy of youth. You know, they are living the time that they're living in, and a lot of those guys came from hip hop. A lot of those guys came from all of that,
yeah, yeah,
that angst and all of
yeah,
that, and that's why I say it's socially reflected in the movement and in the dance. So obviously, when these guys came into being, any generation that looks under that, like I tell people, you can't blame anybody for their beginning. You cannot. So if you're seeing that and that's your influence and that's what you fall in love with, you
yeah.
build off of that. That's
Hmm.
just a natural thing, you know. There's no hateration in that. That's just a simple notion of human nature. So with all that being said, when club music got separated to house music, a lot of generations do the hey, what's new, what's next, kind of
Yeah,
mode and travel.
yeah,
So if somebody sees that, oh, these guys are doing the jack, or what they assume is the different rhythms and how you're approaching it, either front, either back, either a little laid back, either on it. They go, oh, okay, so this gives you a possibility. And once again, if a possibility exists, it lets somebody else know that, oh, I'm allowed to do that, because sometimes people don't give themselves permission to explore something unless they see a possibility. And if you see a possibility, then you go, oh, well, let me take that leap.
yeah,
So I'll say this: is that dance always changes when music changes.
yeah,
I think that's a clear
yeah,
notion.
yeah. Answer. Okay. So next one, which clubs can you recall attending in the disco era that
Oh
were
shit!
the ish, that were the ish? And same question for the
Oh, the
house
ish.
music scene,
I
past and present. The bomb clubs, the nice clubs, whatever you want to slang, you want to say that was the ish that I went to in the disco era, and also uh, for the house music scene as well, past and present.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the funny thing. When you say ish, right? For us, ish meant the whack clubs.
No,
You
no,
know,
ish means shit. Instead of saying shit, they say ish.
oh, that's
What was
see,
the
it's a
shit?
generate. See, that's the generational thing. You see, that's a
What was the
generational thing.
ish? Instead of saying what was the shit back then? What's the fuck?
Oh shit.
Instead of cussing
Oh
like
wait,
yo, what's the freaking hot club? Or what's the fucking hot club back then? What's the
get your
ish?
list ready,
So
son.
I was
Get
being
your
nice.
list
I was being
ready.
polite.
Get your list ready. Okay, so obviously it was the garage. Obviously it was the loft. Then there was Ice Palace. Then there was Crisco's. Then there was Electric Circus. Then there was Peppermint Lounge. Then there was I never did do Melons. Melons was hot. I missed that one, but I can't claim Melons. But that's a name that you should know. I did Baseline. I did oh wait, what's the other one? Uh, Baseline. Tories. The Monster. Because I knew a lot of the DJs myself, so they would always invite us to kind
Mhm.
of like start the party, so to speak. You
Yeah,
know, because people have a tendency to just chill and not want to do their thing. But these clubs, the ones, Roseland, Gotham's West. Um, Regimes was tired, so I'm not even going to say that. That just came to my mind when I said Gotham's West because that was another thing. Um, Obviously, the ozone layer in Brooklyn. Woof. Panorama in Brooklyn. Woof. 515 Waverly. That shit. The one. Oh my goodness. What else? There was oh uh, uh, well, 6 Hubert Street changed its name a couple of times. First, it was Body and Soul, and
Yeah,
then
body soul. Yeah.
then they changed it to 6 Hubert, and then it was another club before that, Shelter. So I'll say that too. Um, Danceteria, Private Eyes.
Hmm.
Um, there was also, there was also, oh, what was it? It was on 13th Street, Mars.
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 Yeah.
Mars was kind of
Yeah.
like a danceteria, but they had different levels and so on. You might have
Yeah. The
been there. I
top.
don't.
Yeah, I've been there.
How long have you been in New York? How long have you
I've
been
been
in New York?
long enough. I went to the my first. I was born in the shelter.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
born in the shelter.
Okay. Okay.
So
So then
I
you
was
know
prior
some.
to that was in Zanzibar. So I'm Jersey Brad. So I
Oh,
went to the
wait a minute now.
Zanzibar. I
I
went to
have to go
Zanzibar.
there too.
Yeah.
Zanzibar, Club USA,
Yeah.
Evergreen 88. Those are my spots.
Yeah. My family prior to me, they hitting the clubs too. So you know what I mean. They like
Oh,
old
okay. So
heads
you know
too.
what I'm
So
talking about. You know
so
exactly what I'm talking
they was
about.
bringing back everything back home to us, showing us all it was doing. So I always had a fascination. So I knew already what direction I was going. So Zanzibar is
Mm,
easy. I was doing a little couple of clubs before that in Jersey. I would sneak out the house and hit a couple of clubs. So,
nice.
and get
Nice.
the house on. So I'm not like it's the family, man. They had me geeked up. They went out to the party. I wanted to go out to the party too. So as usual, that's how it
Actually,
works.
that's how dance DNA is passed on.
That's how
So
it
they did it
works.
right.
Yeah,
Nope, they did it
bringing
right.
back them
That's how it did.
records and talk about the
Hmm.
parties in New York, and I wanted to go.
Hmm.
So eventually, I
Hmm.
got my chance to
Wait,
go, and
before I
I just
finish
went.
my list,
Yeah, go ahead.
let me see. So now we were speaking about Jersey. So that was Club 88,
Uh huh.
um, which was
Oh,
88
you
Evergreen.
yeah. You hit 88 too. Ooh.
Damn right. Damn
Ooh.
right. 88
Ooh.
Evergreen. Zanzibar, of course, because Zanzibar was kind of like the Jersey Garage,
Yeah.
but it was in is in I think it was the I forgot
Lincoln
the name,
Hotel.
the
Lincoln
Lincoln
Hotel.
Hotel. But
Yeah.
the coolest part is that when we used to because I used to perform there. So what we
Yeah.
used to do is, there's because the hotel is right next to it. There's
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
doorway that you can go
Yeah.
from one way to the other. But the sad part is when see in America, well, in America, because you're in Germany now, right?
Yeah. Right now I'm in Germany. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in America, a lot of the hotels would make their money by opening it up to Section 8, and you can get up to $1,500 a person
Yeah.
for that. So the owner of the hotel opened it up to Section 8, and unfortunately, a lot of the Section 8 participants ran the place down badly.
Yeah.
Badly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's not to say people that Section 8 people are not people that do
The
their
owner
thing.
made a bad decision.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
He
owner
made a
made a bad
monetary
decision because
decision.
it turned into a hip hop club because it really and my aunt was like, yeah, I went there. I remember when it was lions up inside there, real lions. I was like, what?
Oh, I wasn't there that night. Oh no.
No,
Mm-mm.
they way back in the day. She said there was lions. They actually had live lions up in there.
That's
Not tigers,
crazy.
tigers. Yeah, live tigers.
I
Yeah,
mean, give it up for atmosphere.
yeah,
Good on me. But those were the clubs that were the ish back then.
yeah,
And what we would do, we would club hop. We would go from, let's say, because back in those days, the after hours were the spots. The average clubs stayed open till about 4 a.m. Then there was the after hours that were from 4 a.m. to
hmm
1 o'clock Sunday afternoon. So what we would do, we would go from club to club to club to club, and
hmm
then pick the one that you like and stay there. Oh yes, also Studio 54 I did do. Bonds International I did do. Um, I never did the gallery though. Never did the gallery.
Okay, heard of the place, but yeah, not mine. Yeah, not my time, not my
Um,
club. Some of them you name I know, some of them don't know. Past my time, before my time. Um,
you know, um, sorry, I almost forgot the red
Red Zone.
zone.
Yeah,
Then yeah, the red zone. But then the rain. So the same space, different name.
yeah, yeah.
Ish clubs I went to back then.
Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Can you name some dancers that really inspired you
And
past?
Broadway International.
Okay. Oops, my bad. Yeah, there's a delay in the signal. Okay, so I want to go ahead and move on to the next question because it's going to be a little. The signals are not so good because we got a lot
Oh,
of clouds
okay.
and stuff like that. So I got to try to get as much in as possible. Okay. Can you name some dancers that really inspired you, past and present, in pushing whatever it is, or was in a positive way? And you kind of answered that question already, but you can elaborate a little bit more. Did you catch it?
Say it again because it got cut out
Okay.
again.
Okay. So can you name some dancers that really inspired you, past and present, in pushing
Yes.
whatever it is, uh, or was in a positive way? Like you know, in a positive way.
Oh, wait. Basically, right?
Hmm.
Of my time. Okay. Yeah. Well, Mike Dungy. I'll say Mike Dungy because of the way Mike Dungy listened to music was totally different than everybody else. Mike Dungy listened to music exactly in the way that a jazz musician would listen to music. He was very about, to me, objectively, he became a syncopated portion of of the music. If the music was playing 6 or 7 tracks, he was the eighth track. And what he laid on top of it, keeping in mind of what he was hearing, whether he can weave in and out of that particular, it was music to my eyes, not to my ears, to my eyes. Then there was Baby. Baby, his nickname was Baby, but his real name was Juan Colon. Juan Colon, he he had a very loose back. He would more so do somersaults and be like a little, just like how would I would say, he'd be very animated when he would do what he did. Junebug is the first person that I saw break his back. That shit freaked me out. I'm looking at him. He used to have all these bracelets on his arms, like from here to here, and dreads, and how he would dance so smooth and break his back like that. I would go, oh, dude. All of these things used to affect me. Then there were the characters, Maniac and Screaming Demon. I'll never forget. Back when I was a kid, we used to have instead of backpacks, we had attaché cases. So you can click.
Yeah.
So, so what's? Oh God! So what's either Screaming Demon or Maniac? I forgot. In the basement, and in the height of the music that was going on, because back in those days we didn't create what the kids call like, it was just where there was room that you did your thing. It's straight across the floor, and the suitcase would be upright like this, and it would just
Hmm.
go. You couldn't even plan it. It was kind of where the song would be got out the way, and they'd allow this suitcase with everybody dancing to slide right between everybody and keep moving. we're
Okay.
like, what the hell? You got to admit, when you roll up in that place, it was like a zoo. The kind of zoo I'd like to be down with, but it was a zoo. I love that shit.
Okay.
You know?
All right. So what would he okay. Okay, what would you like to see from other people moving forward, foreigners, and on the home front,
Mhm.
like us, being proud of taking ownership, or do we own any of this? And what is it we own? And that's still from our generation that are
Okay.
asking.
Okay.
The middle.
Well, I say this. I think I think it's always nice when any younger generation wants to pay homage to an older generation, but I have to be very clear. The only thing that a younger generation can really take from this is an approach. It's not it's not a formulated form. You have to understand what the loft allowed you to do was an approach. So I wouldn't say that a person is lofting. I would say if your approach is that you're free, you're letting it out, you're smooth, you're utilizing every part of your 360-degree being, and you have a personal relationship with that music, anybody could look at you and say, "Oh, loft it out, baby, loft it out." Now, what that means is that if you were in this particular space, you would know the kind of freedom, you would identify it easily like that. That means you don't have to necessarily be on the floor. You don't have to necessarily be in the air, but it's your approach of what you do that would give somebody say, "Yo, he's all the way in. Yo, baby, loft that shit out. Loft it out." That's what I would say. So that's what you guys can take from it. But I would think that really it doesn't belong to any of us. You know, the fact that we lived in this man's home and David allowed us to have a space, a safe space where we could be free, you know, it's it's not ownership in the sense of yo man, you can't get down, you can't do this. That's not what we're saying, and definitely that's not what I'm saying, because you have to understand David's idea of freedom came first. Come as you are, whoever you are, and enjoy this space. How we intermingle with each other is a result of that space. So, moving forward, if young people take the approach of what I just mentioned, of allowing themselves to not do the love me show, you know, which is, see, I'm busting it out. See, I'm busting it out. You're doing shit for the wrong reason, you know? The only time you can have a real personal relationship with the thing that you're hearing is if you're not vested in what this one's thinking, what that one's thinking, what that one's thinking. And you're good at where you are. So when you allow that spirit to come through, it shows and it manifests itself physically. So I would say for young people moving forward, you got to go deeper. You don't allow the surface thing to get in the way. Now, obviously, not everybody's going to understand that at all. And actually, maybe many people are going to be confused by it. But I'll tell you this: when you make an emotional connection to what you do, the light bulb changes on, you never go back. I can tell you that, you know?
Yeah.
What's the third part of the question there?
A
Because I
third
think
part
I
of the
answered two of
question.
them.
Yeah, I think that might have been. Let me see. Want to make sure. Hold on. 1 second. Make sure we got it because I moved on to the about to move to the
Oh,
next.
sorry.
No problem. No problem.
Because
It's
I
all
can
good.
talk. You're going to have to tell me stop, Joe, because
It's all good. Um, got it. Okay, so it was. What would we like to see? What would you like to see other people moving forward, foreigners and home front, like us being proud of taking ownership? Okay, so taking ownership and responsibility of this, I guess, with this meaning culture, and what is it we own? if we own anything.
Okay.
And I
Now,
don't know if he's, I don't, now I want to be clear because, for the audience out there, because what do you mean by foreigners? It can mean a variety of things. So it's not necessarily meaning, and I don't want people to get it confused with racism or something like that and start getting all that
oh
in,
no, no,
involved
no.
in it.
Anything that has nothing to do with the
Yeah, yeah.
origin of where
So
something's
we're
from.
just
I
talking
get it.
foreigners. Yeah. So
I get it.
that could be vague for some people, but we're speaking of the dance community right now. So
Okay. Well, see, the thing is, which is really a weird position that everybody's in. This thing about ownership, um, because none of us own it because it's nothing that's a codified form. Because if you look at all of us, we're all different, And if you look at anybody who spent time in that arena, you'll go, oh wow, but that's not this, and that's not that, and that's not this. So that part of it, you really can't say. So, but I think what young people pick out certain things that they say, oh, but that kind of looks like this, and this one kind of looks like that. And it's just the need for people to figure out they want to formulate something. I mean, for me, I find the danger in that is that it's not speaking true to an approach. It's just picking out an apple, an orange, a grape, and a date and saying, okay, this is my fruit basket. That's not it. You know, the approach to how you get your fruit, that's it. So um, I really can't say a thing where you're feeling like it's ownership. I mean, if anybody wants to pay homage, the best thing homage that they can pay is concentrate on the approach. Formalized, not,
yeah.
mm-mm, yeah.
Okay. So okay, that was it from the questions from the past, present, and in the middle. We
Okay.
could we could basically talk about anything you want to talk about from this end, any direction you want to go. We could talk about what you do outside of the
Uh,
loft, or we can just you know get into hot topics. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, as I was saying before, I'm a dancer first.
yeah.
So when I share my life with children and kids and young men and young women and adults, I share my dance DNA. And what a dance DNA is all of the
Hmm.
influences that you have from the time that you get tuned on to this wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Around the world, people see me as a dancer, but I'm gonna tell you guys, it ain't that. It's the music. It's not the dance for me. It never was. Now, the dance is the byproduct of what I'm hearing, and if people like what I do, they like the physical manifestation of what I'm hearing. But that's what they'll react to first. That's why it's always important to speak to a person about what motivates them and what influences them. For instance, if I did this, automatically without anybody knowing, they would think I'm pissed off and I just threw my hand like that. But in my head, if it was like, Woy man, woy man, woy man, in my head, you would never know the inspiration by this movement. You're only going to react by seeing the movement and trying to put it together in your head, what you think the motivation is behind that, which totally gives a different inflection and a different outward meaning. You have to understand human behavior
Hmm.
is a very communicative thing. And without accuracy in intention leads to misinterpretation. So that's why it's always nice to know motivations, why somebody moves a certain way
Yeah.
or why they do a certain thing. For instance, people when they lock, they see the point. Well, I knew Don Campbell personally, and he told this story about he was in the club and some young lady, back in there they wore the knickers and the typical identifiable locking gear, and there was a young lady who was in the club, and apparently either he wanted to get her attention or she was making fun of him, something like that. So while he was in between doing his thing, he would point at her, you know. And every time he did something like he wasn't looking, and next minute he's pointing at her, da 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 da, point, da da da, point. She got so pissed off she left the club. So I guess his boys, they might have been, yo, guy, da da da, you see that? Bip, 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 bip. And that's how that becomes part of a vocabulary that
Yeah.
comes into dance. But if you don't know that the point was basically to put somebody on the spot, you're just pointing in the air just for pointing. That automatically changes the idea of what you're doing.
Right.
Just because the end result looks like it's the same thing, the motivation behind the result will give a different clarity and intention and understanding. So that's why it's important to ask these particular situations and ask
Yes.
people about, because here's the thing. Back in our day, we didn't have the internet. We had television and we had meeting people and being involved in people's lives and in the space that you're in, where there's no miscommunication. You could see what's going on. You could see where the person was at the time, physically, where they were mentally. If you're doing time in a club, usually you're doing time more than 8 hours.
Yeah.
You transform from the moment that you enter that space to when you leave.
Right.
So all of that is there. But see, now we have these instant things that you can't possibly know what somebody's doing. You just take the this much and you try to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
That would make sense to you. Now, to
Right.
you, that would make sense. But you might go totally left from what the idea of what this thing was, which changes the intention of what it is. So that has nothing to do with the original inspiration or idea. So it's very important to dig deeper. So
Yeah.
as dancers, because I'm speaking to this particular community that I'm talking about now, dancers.
Hmm.
So dancers, practitioners, whatever. It's always nice, as I said before, to do something for the right reason.
Yeah.
It's always important to understand there's a lot to be learned by different energies in a room.
Yeah.
You know, People like to separate this and separate that and separate that is to say, okay, yeah, well, this has nothing to do with that. That has nothing to do with that. That has nothing to do with that. But everybody forgets all of these dance forms were born within a social setting.
Yeah.
And it was born through trauma, and it was born through a social existence that forced this thing to emerge. You can't ignore that. If you ignore that, then it becomes like a skill. Well, damn, anybody can learn a
Well,
skill.
some people would disagree. Some people say it comes out of also celebration. So I mean, we have
But
somebody say,
celebration is a social thing.
yeah, yeah. It's a
Celebration is a
celebration.
social thing. I mean,
Absolutely, but not just out of pain and trauma sometimes. And I think that's also some narrative
oh, I
that
see what you mean.
people are trying
I
to
see what you
avoid
mean.
that narrative too. That the culture, Black American culture, or the culture from the Breakers Club, it's whatever just lumped up in that it might. It's not all from tragedy. A lot of times it's just celebration too, as well. As the
I can agree with that. I can
you
agree.
know,
I can agree. I
and
mean,
I think
because look,
they was hoping that the young and I'm referring to the battle generation don't get in their head that we traumatized into doing this culture, to making a dance or you know what I mean, or doing everything that we doing, they're
well,
loving hip
well,
hop and stuff like that.
well,
So
I gotta understand. I mean, they gotta understand where you are now. You have to understand where you are now from what has come before you. You know,
yeah,
Trust me, those guys that they were rocking and they were doing all of that, they were having fun with each other. But the main purpose for that is that, I'm representing my hood. This is my
yeah, yeah,
territory.
absolutely,
You
absolutely,
got to understand that shit. You just can't all of a sudden think like, hey, it's kumbaya, kumbaya. No, no. But here's the thing. As times move on, it's always natural and important to know your root, because, for instance, you probably know, I judge all these battles throughout
hmm
Europe. There's one thing that I had noticed, which was kind of freaky to me. Like, for instance, I would judge some of these all style battles,
hmm
and there were these kids that were rocking, and the next minute they're doing this to the kid, and it was like it was okay because they're understanding, oh, well, it's part of the language. Let me do that. When you're telling another man, suck my dick, that shit was not supposed to be as taken as, hey,
No.
thank you. I'm taking my hand and taking my hand, yada, da, da, da. But here's the thing. But here's the thing. This is what I want to tell you. You don't want to play with all of this shit, but you need to know why you're doing that. Because
Yeah.
if you want to burn somebody, you burn them. But there's a line that you cross. But because it's so accepted as part of a vocabulary, you figure, oh, great. So let's say the first time you go to America, right? And you go to Compton and you see people just getting down. You think, oh,
Yeah.
shit, yo, they're having a good time. Peace, love, and having fun. Let me go down there and you're doing your shit and you
Oh
do.
no, 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 no. They shouldn't think of it like that. And I was only referring to the cookouts and the barbecues. I actually hope, and the ones that don't get shot up.
Yes, yeah, but no,
I
but
was
I have to
referring to the
say
ones
that.
that don't get shot up. So
Yeah, but I have to say that because I got to say that because can you imagine, Gary? If I didn't say that, it's like, oh well, Archie didn't say that. Then
yeah,
they,
yeah.
you know,
Then you
like
go
blah
to
blah
the
blah.
hood. It might be a barbecue you might not want to attend. So
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
every
You know,
barbecue ain't
you
cool.
need to know this. Matter of fact, there was another situation. I judge a lot of Vogue contests, right? So I was in Italy, and there were these little kids, and they were doing Vogue Femme, and I had to stop the battle. I said, "Listen, guys, you have to understand that's an adult situation. You can't be pussy, pussy, cunt, cunt, pussying when a kid is like 11 or 12 years old or 13 years old. You can't be
Yeah,
doing that. You know, now if I stand here and allow y'all to do that, then it's like, well, then Archie said it was okay to blah, blah, blah. Let me understand. All little children want to do what adults do. It's up to us as adults to pick and choose the things and explain to them this is not for you. This is
yeah,
not for you now. This is not for you then. You
yeah.
know, now in
Well, you
Europe,
end up having a movie like Cuties,
yes, yes.
which French don't mind. So people don't understand how French could do it. I said, well, they're French.
And 16 is
So
supposedly that. Yeah.
yeah, they're French. So dance, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
And all this to say, things happen culturally, but it makes me uncomfortable if you're inviting me to do these things
Yeah, and
that
it's
I'm going to tell you I can't
yeah,
be down with that. I can't.
yeah,
Lady, she battled with the adults, and I don't know what her mother was feeding her because she looked like 13.
yeah,
So the owner of the event came to me and said, Archie, listen, this person slipped through kid that well no you her
yeah,
mother comes
yeah,
up to me crying, my daughter, I want my daughter. No disrespect to the woman. I said, what are you crying for? That's your daughter. She is 13 years old. She belongs with the children. She goes over there.
yeah.
Stop trying to be her friend. Be a mother. You
Yeah, but
know?
they different over here. Their culture is like real different. Yeah, it's just
Well, I
different.
hate to
It
say it.
shocks me every
Well,
day.
it's
Trust me. I live here and I'm not finished being shocked yet. They shock me every
well,
day.
well. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you have no shade about what I'm saying, but if you have one of your people on that judges panel that allows that shit to go down, all the more the merrier. But I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah, yeah, that's
You
right.
know, you're gonna
Yeah,
have to learn. You're gonna have to learn that anytime you learn a culture, anything from a culture that's not yours, you
yeah,
have to learn it from that culture side, not your side.
yeah, yeah,
I can't go to Japan and I'm saying I'm going to practice the martial arts and I practice the martial arts here in America and I go to Japan to go teach it. Are you kidding me?
yeah,
Are you kidding me? You have to learn it from the Japanese side. You can't learn it from the American side.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like this culture, this rich culture that we have here. Because no shade, when I came to Europe, you'd be surprised. Well, you probably already know, but a major part of Europe has a rhythm problem. Only
Well,
because, well, listen to me. Only because, and I figured this shit out because for them, the form comes first. The music is secondary. And that's bullshit. You don't do that. You don't
yeah,
put the cart before the horse. And this is the misconception. I couldn't give a damn if these damn kids could levitate. If you can't do that shit on
yeah.
beat, next.
Yeah,
You
well,
don't skip.
it was,
You don't
yeah,
skip
it's
it.
some
You
people,
don't.
some people got it now. They get it a little bit more. I
Oh, I
mean,
agree. Oh, I
the
agree.
work that you guys put in on them, it really helped out a lot. I
I
think that
agree.
was the major because they took leaps and bounds from that being a wanting to be on point, taking their time. So everybody started taking their
Mm-hmm.
time because
Mm-hmm.
they were beat killers at
Mm-hmm.
first. They didn't care about the beat. It's how
Oh,
fast can I
please.
go? You know what I mean? I'll
And
hit
that's the
something.
issue. But see, this is what I'm saying. When you take something that has spirit, soul, and substance, and you change it into a mechanical form,
Yeah,
that's the killing of that thing, whatever that thing is. It
yeah,
is up to those people who are teaching you these things to put A before B,
yeah,
not
yeah, absolutely.
C before A.
Yeah.
And Les, you can ask anybody in Europe that knows me. I'm very vocal about that shit.
Yeah, and I agree with
Very
you on that
vocal
one.
about that shit.
I see it over here too, and yeah, I mean, you're all right, yeah, because I see it. But like I said, they've gotten better, and I guess you guys really worked on
Oh
them
yeah,
too.
they have.
You guys really worked
They
on
have.
them, and I was this year. I was
They have.
looking forward. I was actually looking forward to taking a look into the voguing scene over here. I was just about to do it. Corona hits, and I've just got it wrapping
Hmm.
around my mind to go check out the voguing scene around here, and because I
Now,
liked it,
I'm gonna give
I
you a little
like to
history
see
on
it.
that.
Yeah, and I
I'm gonna
wanted
give you
to
a list
check
of
it
history
out.
on that. Here's the history on that. I am the guy that's directly responsible for that shit being brought in Europe. Not a if,
Well,
not a maybe.
yeah,
I'm that
I know
dude.
that you're most like I said. Look, Archie, when I do this interview with you, I knew I was going to be most respectful for you. I have a disagreement with a couple of things, but I know who you
That's
are,
fine.
and people have spoke nothing but good things about you, man. So I've never
Oh,
heard anything, from my end. And
that's nice.
I get all the dirt. I'm in the crut, so I get all the crut. So nobody's never really,
Well,
nothing
that's
bad.
nice.
Everybody
That's
gave me
nice.
positive love, man. They say you're a love
I
person. You
mean,
give
look.
and I already knew by the first when I first heard you. Look, I can tell by the way you text me what level of intellect you're on. So I'm already on it
Oh,
already. So
okay.
I knew what level you
Well,
were
well,
at
look.
already
I
when you
honestly
just by
feel
you
it's
texting me, and your dialogue and your speech and how you deliver your text. So I read all
well.
that, man,
Thank
and
you.
then I know you. I've seen you before, and then I got good response from a lot of people saying you were good peoples. So that was the other
See,
thing.
my job, I think, but less. My job, I believe, is to help. My job is not to hurt. You
Yeah,
know, but I like to help in support in clarity. I don't like to, let's say, endorse or push somebody in a situation where I don't feel comfortable because it's not articulated or understood the way that I feel that it needs to take the time to
yeah,
be done. That's why, when I first came to Europe, if I'm going to go all the way back, when I first came to Europe was in 1991,
yeah,
and I started in Amsterdam and went from Amsterdam to Paris, and then from Paris on to the rest of the world. But that was a consistent piece of work.
yeah.
It only became official in that other particular genre in 2008. Excuse me, lies. 2007, then
Mhm.
official 2008 in Funkin' Styles.
Yeah,
Takala
Funkin'
Baba.
Styles. Yeah, Funkin'
Hmm.
Styles.
That,
Funkin' Styles probably don't like me no more. I shut them. I was mad at them because they didn't want to put house onto their program last year. So I kind of like shot at the owner. It was like, yeah, whatever, dude. That's kind of messed up. You didn't put house up there. They said we didn't have no bite, and I think they probably have a different heart set now. Me and OG been going back and forth at it, so I
I
think we
see.
got some bite now. It's
Well,
just
what's
it's
funny?
verbal sparring, but it's good stuff because it brought out a lot of information. Rob, I mean
Mm,
Archie, I'm like this, man. I want to read you this one thing right here, and
uh-huh.
I want to have a part two conversation with you because I want to leave this
Okay.
like this because this is the questions I wanted to leave it for the people to ask the questions. I want you to do me a favor. I'm going to read this right here, and then I want you to do me a favor, and then let's set up another appointment to talk again. All right?
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay.
And then give shout
Yeah.
outs to all the people who you want to give your shout outs to. So we're gonna
Hey.
do it like this. We're gonna do it like this. I'm gonna read this because this is. I mean, I checked you guys out last night. The video, the recording you and Bravo did.
Oh, that was fun. That was
Okay,
fun.
so now I have a lot of, you know, I'm pretty vocal about my feelings on lofting, and I know you got your say on.
Hmm.
We're gonna have another conversation about this. We're gonna get
Sure.
juicy. But today, we're just gonna keep it. Let's keep it Esquire. Yeah, we move forward. Look, from a guy
And
that posted on the
oh, there it is.
Instagram thing. Yeah, from the guy that posted on the Instagram, he said it became loft dancing as time went by. Over the years, mid 70 to early 80, when you on the David dance floor, if you was a dancer on the floor, no
Oh,
question, you was lofting. One might say. For me, the smoother your dance, the more lofty you look. And I would take that smoothest everywhere I party. I was around
man, this thing's
freestyle.
cutting out.
Oh, hold on. Yes, I was around freestyle and breaking, and when it all started, ain't nothing like feeling lofty on the floor with powder under your feet. 1976, it all started for me. I never forget that lofty feeling. Now, this was somebody that tapped into your guys' thing, and you had said a magic word. You said codex. I want to stop right there because I know it's going to get. Let's do a part two.
Wait, what's the word? What's the word?
You said codex, coding, codex. Codex,
Codification.
codification, short codex. We just codification, codex.
Oh,
Let's do
because
a
I didn't
part
say
two.
codex because I didn't know what
Okay,
that was.
my bad. I just shortened
Okay.
it up to codex. I just kept it, you know, I
Why are you
just
trying to confuse the brother?
I'm doing emoji. I'm from look, I'm the generation that birthed the softies that you got to deal with nowadays, the
Oh my
sensitive generation.
God.
So be
Oh my
easy,
God.
man. We were sensitive enough to go up inside these clubs that we know we was like fighting half the people that was in there at one particular point on the street, but we walking inside them. You know what generation I'm from, so don't act like you don't know Archie. But listen,
Oh
check it
shit.
check it out.
Uh,
So
uh, uh.
so the codification, codex. What I want you to do
Yes,
me a
yes,
favor,
yes.
because I wanna learn, man. I don't wanna be the stubborn guy. I don't wanna be called the clown. I definitely don't want to be that guy. You know, but I feel a certain kind of way
Uh,
because some things were passed on to me. So could you do me a favor?
okay,
Let's
okay.
link up with Mike Dungy. You link up with Mike Dungy
Yeah,
so he
baby.
can talk to me, and you guys can convince me why that post right there is that. Let's talk codex. Code, excuse me, codification. Codex is short.
Thank you.
Let's talk
This
codification.
was a Kodak moment. Click, click. Okay.
Codex. Yeah, let's talk that, and let's see if you guys convince me that lofting should not be used to identify your beautiful generation and all the artistical things that you guys created in the loft. So you guys got to convince me because I'm not convinced. Fair enough.
Okay. That's fair
Fair enough.
enough.
Fair enough.
That's fair enough.
So part two. We're gonna label that one the Codex. Coming soon, part two. Thank you very much, Archie.
Kodak. You are very welcome. You are very
And bro, do
welcome.
you want to give any shout outs?
Damn. Well, shout out to everybody. Shout out to people who are interested in just feeling free and God forbid staying on beat, baby.
Please stay on beat.
Shout out for people to stay on beat
Please
because we
stay
don't
on
want to
beat.
be singing, "We are a part of the rhythmless nation." No, we're
Oof.
not trying to do that, people.
Horrible,
We're not.
horrible.
We're not. We're not.
Horrible. So part two, we gonna make a date. We gonna get it. We gonna get it right. Convince me. Make me change my mind
Mhm.
because I'm not
No,
convinced.
oh, no, no. Listen, listen. Here's the thing. My job is not to change anybody's mind.
Yeah, I
My
know.
job is just to be clear. That's
But
all.
you know, but you know what? More information. More. It's tell Bravo, please don't be mad at me. But more information that we have, the better it is. And he may not understand why I'm being like I am, but it'll come around. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I
No, that's
understand.
understood. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I
understood.
understand.
You know, think of it this way. I'll end it like this. When people are putting their personal DNA in what they do,
Hmm.
it's 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 difficult to mass a a a, a codex. It's difficult to mass a codex to say that that's a form where each one of these particular people have different DNA, and each one of these particular people, the only thing that links them is the approach. So,
Yeah.
part two.
Yeah. Part two. Let's go. All
Hmm?
right. So anybody you want to give a shout out to before you go? Shout outs.
Oh shit. Okay. Shout out Bravo. Shout out Mike Dungy. Shout out the City Steppers. Shout out my international fam. Y'all know who you are. Shout out to the young people interested in dance. Shout out to the young people interested in history. Shout out to the young people that do not do not impede on your integrity, because that's all that you have. It's important how you act, but it's more important how you react. Remember that. That is something that, if you never take anything away, that's something that every young person has to maintain, because not everybody will understand your story. Not everybody will understand your purpose. But you know what? That journey is not for them, it's for you. And that means also sometimes you have to separate yourselves from person, places, and things, including family, that do not honor your journey in order for you to do what you need to do. So that's the kind of information that, or wish, that I would like to give in a shout out. So there you go.
Okay. Peace, man. Thank you very much. You have a great day. Stay safe, and we're gonna do this again. And holla. Peace.
Part two, part two.
Coming up. Let's go.